Good morning, everybody. So not much happened yesterday. It's kind of boring, and so far today things are down a little bit. Kind of maybe another boring day. Yesterday's midday update, walking on eggshells, was appropriate. Kind of a way of saying markets aren't going anywhere, waiting for the next shoe to drop, news to whatever that might be. Everybody's tariffs. I think everybody's sick of it at this point, and the back and forth, but nothing we can do. Um, yeah, the death cross finally uh, was mentioned in Market Watch, and they actually showed a chart where over the years, most of the time, I forget what it was, how many months out there later, markets were actually up. But if you read the chart of the week, I mentioned, well, one of the reasons that happens is, depending on what preceded the move, meaning if things were going sideways long enough to where the 200 was to catch up with prices, and then the drop came, the cross would happen at the appropriate time, meaning a breakdown from a consolidation, rather than at this point where the markets are down as much as they are, and now it crosses. Now that doesn't mean that prices won't go down, because sometimes they do, of course, and you see something, for example, like the transports, where it happened here. In any event, like moving average crossovers in hindsight look amazing when prices are trending, and when things come late and things whip around, they look like the worst nightmare for traders that utilize them. So, like any indicator, they're subjective. We use moving averages as visual aids, as we call it. But if you look at them with some common sense, it's like, oh, this is happening after XYZ is already down 20% and near support. That kind of situation is just, it's ridiculous. But, the news likes to point out those kind of things. It gets people's attention and find it interesting. But so, like in a look around, we see that everything pretty much nothing happened yesterday in a meaningful way. Things moved up a little bit. Um, Depending on where you look, the afternoon had some little rally. You can see here, and I had mentioned that in the midday video that things, markets were starting to bottom, and you just follow the trend, and they popped up here and a little buy set up there, and it was a little rally. Couldn't It looked like maybe it was going to get up toward the high of the day, which would have been interesting, but that didn't happen. And as mentioned, yesterday and probably before that, the markets are fixated on interest rates, and that wild move that happened a week or so ago. So keeping an eye on that intraday makes sense for short-term traders to see which way interest rates are trending. And I can remember this exactly happening. I don't remember the year, but I can remember us, as traders being fixated again on interest rates on a minute by minute basis, because there's inverse relationship was that way. And so here we are again, and this could have been 20 years ago. Um, but markets are focused on interest rates, recession, and tariffs and so on. So um, for the time being, okay, for this week anyway, prices are trending. Well, not trending, but just staying between the high and low of that big green bar and just chopping back and forth. So things moved down a little bit earlier, and now they're retracing up a little bit inside of yesterday's range. So they just continue to mark time here. So as we look at anything in any market environment or any stock, uh, we look at what's the trend, up and down and sideways. The trend is down. Okay. It made a turn. Great. Wide range bar, which was created on news. Not so great, but I mean, the extent of the bar. A lot of things happen on news. And now, the factory work, as we call it, do the bodies stay in the upper 50% of that wide range bar? So far, yes. I'm just marking time. So as it goes sideways here, what is it waiting for? Well, some economic news at the end of the week or some other tariff news or whatever is going to be said. Um, we assume if it stays up here, it'd be much better if it was in an uptrend and the wide range bar had broken out above some resistance instead of poking into it. The probability of breaking higher would be much greater. Now, this is in a downtrend and it's at resistance. That being said, if it goes sideways here, if we do get some movement and it breaks up, well, it could have a little short-term rally toward the next resistance area, and we'd want to take advantage of that. Right now, I said nothing is happening. So we look around at other markets to see, is there anything of significance happening somewhere else? Oh, the Russell is a little weaker, but still trading inside the wide bar, trading inside of yesterday's range, marking time, walking on eggshells, whatever. What does Dan say? News, good. Oh, and I think one of Dan's jokes, yes, this MT Live tomorrow is about trading news. I'll post the link for those that are interested. So nothing much is happening here. Kind of boring. Um, Credit spreads, intraday trades, swing trades, few and far between of quality, and that'll change. So IWM trading inside of yesterday's range, going nowhere. Spiders, same story, trading inside of yesterday's range. There's the death cross, and just going back here for a second, same thing happened on the Qs, right? At essentially the same time, that's interesting. That two markets happened in unison together. Just interesting, not of any real significance as related to the cross. All right. So let's do SPX and where price is trading. Basically at yesterday's close. So prices are not moving very much. You can see nothing much of significance happening here. And ranges are contracting. I couldn't get that exactly to 290, but it's around 290, give or take, something like that. Contracted from what it was yesterday. It was like close to 350, I think, give or take. So narrower ranges, and we use this as kind of a ballpark guide as to, this being extremes, an extreme move. Now, this bar obviously was much bigger, but you don't get many bars like this historically. So now we go and look as a guide. And of course, the most important thing is the most recent support and resistance and moving averages. To the extent, is there a widely followed moving average that could be used as a reference point? And this is relatively close to 20. These are too far away. On the weekly, the 20 here is equal to the 100 on the daily, which is up above the other two by a little bit. So one of the concepts when people look at moving averages is like, okay, are there moving averages clustered together? And they can think, well, that's a significant resistance area if they're up above. Sometimes, if it's aligned with a pivot, well, then it would make a whole lot more sense since you have something that a subjective thing that many are focused on and an actual price reference point. And so that coincides with the 5-day average true range. So the thought is if something was to spark the markets higher, how far might they go just based on this information? And clearly, if they could get moving, they would hit a significant reference point up here, right, based on multiple pieces of information. And to move down to the downside, not anything of real significance clustered there. So look at the option chain. 5520. Well, what are you seeing there, Don? You say SPX seeing 5520 by 52. So if you mean for a spread, everything's about staying away from what would be the most obvious thing. Give 1 second, everybody. Okay. So I look generally for about $1 and then see how that lines up with our reference points and how much that moved from yesterday. So this interesting that it moved up in a market that's not moving, which would suggest some bullish undertones. And are they right or not? I don't know, right? Because prices aren't moving. Get this out of there. Sometimes it guides to bullishness. Sometimes it guides to complacency. So I like this that it's above the whole number and a decent amount above that whole number. So we like to be on the other side of them if possible or close to them. Okay, we're checking. Okay. So both of these are within striking distance of an average true range. But the odds of a bar that size today in this environment without news is unlikely. That is within striking distance. Seems odd that it's that close. Really odd that it's that. What am I doing here? No, I made an extra one. $235. This one's furthest away. I'm just gonna have to see where things start, which way they start moving, which just based the way prices are moving and getting tighter, it's possible that things could break intraday a relatively significant amount. So again, we'll just have to see which way things move because they're just not moving very much. But that is a little bit too close for comfort. It's interesting that I'm almost can't in disbelief that it's as close as it is, just based on historical norms day to day. But that's where it is. So that kind of reeks of being complacent to me that it's not moving. Um, anyway, that's what's going on here. Bonds are up a little bit, but nothing of significance there. It's almost like, if this is what's in store for us, this week, you may as well just take off now, instead of waiting for Friday. But look, I suspect things will get moving one way or another by then. Uh, nothing is moving very much. Oil's not moving. Gold, as you can see, is not moving. The little extended momentum has stalled. The distance between the highs there. Um, so yeah, we'll see how this day progresses, because right now everybody's just waiting, walking on eggshells. All yours, Dan.
So, Greg, serious question. Are you talking about eggshell analogy because Easter is Friday?
It did coincide with that, Dan, but it wasn't part of my humor with, or and now to talk about that. But I didn't even think about it until you brought it up.
That's my job.
Yeah.
So, I hear Greg saying all the time, there's going to be no quality patterns. And, the broader market agreed. But two things. As he said, we can do credit spreads. But number two, with our scanning skills, we will always find something that is a superior setup to the broader markets. And that's what you got to find and trade, or just stick to day trading or credit spreads. So this is one. I just had an alarm go off. Someone in the room asked about it, and it's not ready yet, but it's marinating, right, Sam? We like that word. It's marinating. Had an upside shakeout, downside shakeout. Now you got a 1, 2, 3. The 20 MA is flat now, bullish weekly. So that's marinating. ICE, Alex found yesterday, relative strength closing above. There's so many patterns that look the same like this, but none of the broader markets did this. This one did with relative strength. So I got my alarm on that. It's following a Climo. This kind of reminds me of Baba. So see Baba also. We were short naked puts on those, took our money in the strength yesterday, but fairly similar to ICE in terms of the turn and the void. So those were both relative strength. Mike Papa just had an alarm go off. Look at the volume yesterday. Now, tomorrow we're going to be doing MT Live on trading news. And I think it's a pretty safe statement to say that most, because I rarely use the word all, most big bars, which was last week's MT Live, big bars, is there was news. So I get, with 99% certainty, if I looked up what the news was yesterday on MP, I will find something. That's the bet I'll make anybody. I mean, that's a big gap igniting closing breakout. So ideally, which we're not going to get because it's gapping up, but had this been an inside bar today, that would have been a sweet looking 1, 2, 3 continuation that the setup is superior to the market. CELH here, another one. We're already in it, but you can add yesterday's high. That is a beautiful 1, 2, 3 from a 3-week consolidation, void, bullish weekly, bullish monthly. So that's quality. That's all the alarms I got going off. So agreed, it's going to be hard. Um, Google, Google, we nibbled yesterday on some long calls. If the fangs get going, this has room because of this void here. bouncing a downtrend. T-Tech MP, I talked about. All right, let's go right to these earnings. There's not many of them. APLT gapping down under $5. 30-minute low could be day trade short. I personally don't like swinging under $7, $8. This one gapping up. Could be day trade long or put spread. Put spread yesterday's low, HIT. This is, that's, I just said news, right? Just out of curiosity, I would love to see what the heck happened on this day. I mean, I would think it says tech, but whenever you see something like that, it's such a catastrophic. Look at that gap. That thing fell 800%. I would say it must be a bio. Bios are the most volatile sector. FBK, no pattern. Nothing to do with that. Gapping down. That relative strength, closing breakout of this turn, but gapping down. It's funny that, again, we'll talk about it tomorrow on the news thing. Like all the news people can do is say, oh, J&J, the headline, J&J is down despite beating earnings. Well, how useful is that statement? Markets is the sum total traders. So whatever the news was, it's down. So that means the collective market participants found the collective news to be less favorable. Hey, this looks good for a day trade. Same crazy turn and bullish 15. That I like. Let's watch that for a 5-minute high for a day trade and put spread. Citigroup. Now see, I don't like this one at all. You had a top and tail yesterday, still within the range, and you're flat here on the 15. See this? You're in a trading range. We always do what I call this A/B test, which means, hey, they're same sector, which one looks better? And do you all see how BAC is just because of the 15-minute chart is superior to Citigroup for day trade? PNC doing nothing, actually gapping down a little, no pattern. Hey Alex, I don't know if you were here yesterday. Sam and I came up with a new name for this pattern. It's a big old wide range bar and 3 inside bars on the left and the right. We called it the arrow setup. That was relative strength, closing breakout, gap in the $8. That's a big gap for $7 stock with nothing to do. ACI Albertsons, 1980 bearish gap, but to the 200. So nothing to do. Rent. This could be a potential bottoming pattern. I think I set an alarm at 560. But if it hits 560, that's going to be 10% higher than it is now. But all right, that's it on earnings. CDNT here is a Climo daily weekly, but notice there is no reversal yet. CNDT. I'll set an alarm at 2:16 for starters. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that in the news. Uh, yeah, I like it. I like it. We got three inside bars after a breakout, so the entry would be yesterday's high, which I would not buy on the 15 because then it'd be too extended. We need it to go sideways. But yes, that's a nice candidate for trading news. So I'll actually put that in our slides for tomorrow, particularly if it sets up. Our KLB. Boeing. More, uh, I don't know if it's tariff or just retaliatory by China, but China's, halting some of their deliveries and stuff. So it's a bearish gap, maybe call spread. We'll come back to it. And GM, I think I downgraded, but I also saw that they were Trump trying to give some exemptions to them too. HPQ, I saw in the news had a secondary offering, but I don't see any pattern there. Yeah, so these other things that would be affected by the GM news. All right, this one's a short idea. So this one is bearish. It's at this prior low though, but that's a bearish gap. ICE alarm. Um, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it now, but let's see, maybe 30-minute high. Victor Charlie. Bearish and a downtrend. Cody, I think, had earnings or something in the news. Gap down, but $5 stock. Here's our CELH I mentioned. Look at Bull here, IPO yesterday. Now this is a Webull, which is a competitor of Hood. So 15-minute chart. What is the old Hood up to? Hood is relative strength. Look at NMAX. I'm going to put this in the thing tomorrow. Look at that crazy move. At least it's it's in an uptrend on 15. So it's retesting this IPO low. This could be, yeah, BAC, Thomas, I said was one of my favorite day trading looking things, but now it's up too much. Rocket Lab looking good. Rocket Lab looks great. Let's buy a half lot yesterday's high. I know I said that I wouldn't want to buy it. That's an ideal world, ideal setup, because I would want it to go sideways there. But the pattern, let's say swing, is over yesterday's high. Let me make that pretty, but yeah, BAC, Rocket Lab look good. Oh shit, ourselves, CEO Inc. I bought calls on this yesterday and I don't like this morning action. I did it right on this 15-minute breakout right there. It's a perfect entry for an intraday pullback, even though from a swing perspective, the entry was over the day's high. Wow, I did a gum rip in here and just turned my head and looked to the right. No pattern though, but AD line gap down to a zero, but it's slowly climbing. Tick still falling. Ice baby pulling in. I told you I wasn't rushing into that. Mister, I was trying to give us a put spread yesterday. Yeah, but not when looking at my four horsemen. Buffet alarm. Yeah, this dog, it looks like it's stopping us out, unless that was an early alarm. We had a half lot bottoming pattern. Yep, stop 254, so we're out. We had a half lot dog. About 285. That's Bravo. Julia. I was trying to sell naked puts yesterday. I did not get filled. But that was a nice relative strength pattern. Yeah, that breakout didn't go too far, and yeah, we got a mess on our hands. I mean, which is fine. We're just being selective and slow. BSY alarm from yesterday. Wow, that's off to a whippy morning. Set the alarms. Wow, that is a big range. First 5 minutes. All right, RKLB, let me make it pretty. Okay, it triggered. The entry was 2047, the half lot. Hey, Sam, are you ready for the first question of the morning? So, when you schedule your flight to Mars this summer, which women do you want to ride with you? right, well, you think, don't, that it's a question you do not want to rush to answer. So here's what I'm gonna do for you. Take your time, do some Google researches, and get back to us after 3 p.m. Okay? Already 3.5 million shares on Rocket Lab in 8 minutes. That's pretty good volume. Make this pretty. Got feeling something. Chewy. Favorable bearings up alarm. Mr. is still moving robustly. Chewy. All right, so yeah, favorable bearings, but no pattern. Um, Netflix. Netflix, I told you if this didn't have earnings, well, I said yesterday it could even be a pre-earnings run. Look at the gap up and the beautiful controlled retracement and rounding bottom pre-market. I unfortunately was not watching it, but that was a good pattern. You put about 5 minute high. But titter alarm. The titter. That's a go. It's posted. The guy yesterday's high. Um, you know what? Let's only do half lot of titter. Just because I prefer it to be closing breakout. Here, Rocket Lab. Let me get this thing done first. All right, UAL, Thomas. Day trade. Um, but yeah, there's so many things that look like they're short-term bottoming. All right, Rocket Lab, I said 20 cents under yesterday's low. So that'd be, well, now we don't need to because it rallied so much. So how about 1858? Alex, remember there used to be rules on you couldn't short IPOs for like a 20 days or something stupid like that. I'm assuming that is I got rid of that a long time ago. What did they call it? The quiet? No, not a quiet period. They call it. There was a term for it.
Is that halted? Shouldn't be. I don't see it moving.
Boom. Yeah, percentage wise, yeah, it's down a lot, even though visually it's not. The Pelletier, I'm still watching. If it can go sideways a few days, has room to 110, I think. Titter. Oh, wait, the titter. Did that trigger? Yeah, it did. Okay. Half lot. Doesn't look like it took out yesterday's high, but it did. Rocket Lab up alarm. Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that. I did see it in the news. I just didn't get to it in time. Nice, up $1 already. A Hilton alarm from the other day. These things got downgraded by Goldman yesterday, so I set an alarm. But there's nothing good. Okay. Or khaki. Alex, what's the first thing you think of when I say khaki? Yeah, we got a break even stunt. It's jeans. What do you what is this? Jeans, khaki jeans, man. You must not be American. Oh, shoot, not liking ourselves yesterday. And I went in early on that 15-minute breakout instead of waiting for the day's highs. So is it really? All right. Man, Netflix is the best performing thing. I got an alarm on this Tesla 258. This could be a home run, multiple time frame bottoming pattern. Q's IWM new high.
Regional banks and financials are strong.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that's a
IWM.
no brainer put spread, but Cree never has any premium. Before I'd go all the way out to next week on this one, the 48s. 37 cents is all I'm making. Down our IoT, we canceled the put spread. Our Home Depot, we only have one open trade in the weekly options trader. Let's see where we're at, 337. Wow, we're at 10 cents. Let's take our money. So now we're back to flat. Greg needs to find us some trades. Win alarm. Home Depot 30-minute low day trade. I like directional day trade. 15 looks good. Market strong. All right, what do you all say? Did I miss? All right, that BAC worked. Oh, what did I said win. That's what I said. Put spread at 70 if there's anything. $0.13. What the hell are you smoking? Lunar bottoming pattern. It's that, see, that's a something 15-minute chart. Doesn't mean it'll close like that, but that's that's looking good for bottom daily, weekly. See how it closes. put it in a window. Yeah, this Rocket Lab, let's go ahead. Let's sell a third. We're up about 50. Yeah, Rocket Man. Nice trade there to open up the morning. Backs. I don't like backs at all myself. Ice is better, but crazy bottoming tail. So because of that range, following yesterday's controlled range, I would prefer to settle down and trigger after 3 p.m. WBD. I actually got out of my puts, Alex, break even because my low alarm went off yesterday and today. And I just said, you know what? Break even. And then on that one little pop, I got filled. That was the bell I heard earlier. AD line up to 1300 after gapping to zero. Yeah, remember when I was scanning all those 1, 2, 3s the other day? There was a number of them in this sector. And I said exactly this, if it can go sideways here for a few more days. So if Thomas, it's 100% retracement. So that's why I wanted it to go sideways. But if you want to scan the sector and propose, maybe you find anything better. Excuse me. Let's see, calm, we never got filled on. 95 puts, 115. No, there's no way we're gonna get filled. We have EHC. I posted over yesterday's sign. Oklo hasn't triggered. It's CBS. These are all pending trades. The column I'm gonna cancel. UBTS. Nothing, our stone is fine. 7 alarm at break even. Market coming in a little, but we got break even stop. Yeah. All right, that's it. We have fairly light inventory. The bidder, we did a half. I'd like it to go sideways. And then add in the afternoon breakout. So T-Tech, I'll set an alarm. 30 and spot 55. Bitcoin just sold off $1,000 from its high. Wow, I'm mad I missed that Netflix. I just did not see that pre-market base. I did not look up that. I said yesterday, pre-earnings are set up right there. Look at those power 15-minute bars. CVS is in a coma. What's that an early alarm? Let's see, what's our posted entry? Posted entry, yeah, we're selling 122. That's fine, I'll leave it. Well, I'll set an early alarm here, 69.85. Michael Papa, we didn't get our 123, but we got a little gap on crab. No, still nothing there, top of the range. Declining 20, 50. Still a mess.